Now on Deputy Seán Kyne. You are sharing, I understand, with Deputy Simon Harris. Is that agreed?
Agreed, yeah.
You have 5 minutes, Deputy Kyne.
Thank you, Chairman. As a member of the European Affairs Committee, I'd like to say a few words on our engagement with Europe. Intensive engagement with the European Union is essential given the sheer breadth of the legislation and policies which originate in Brussels and have such an impact on the lives of the people in this country. Some 3/4 of our social and economic legislation has come directly from Europe via regulations, directives,
Without interruption, please. Deputy Kyne, without interruption, please.
And much of our democratic legislation has been influenced by our membership of the Union. The European Union has grown immensely since we joined in 1973, where once we were a partner amongst 12 member states. We're now one of 28 in a union which embraces most of the continent of Europe and involves more than 500 million people. When put in this context, the challenges facing a country of our size for establishing effective engagement become very clear. The reality is that as a small nation, we have to work that a bit harder to ensure our voice is heard and our views are known. And it is due to the diligence and dedication of our representatives in Brussels and in the European institutions, as well as various national public representatives here, that we have been able to have the impact that we've had. One of the long-held criticisms of the European Union was its apparent disconnect with the ordinary citizen. Long before the Treaty of Lisbon, which consolidated the various treaties legalising or legally underpinning the Union, this was an issue. It was with the Lisbon Treaty that the relationship between the citizen and the Union was examined in great detail for the first time. Accordingly, with the passing of that treaty, each citizen of each member state became a citizen of the European Union with new rights and responsibilities as identified in the cases undertaken by the European Courts of Justice. I believe the enthusiasm in the Lisbon Treaty to reflect on the role of the citizen within the European Union has been born of the recognition that for any organisation or institution to succeed, there must be involvement of the members. In an increasingly involving union, it has been correctly realised that the success of the union is tightly connected with the inclusion of its citizens in shaping and deciding its direction and future. The Lisbon Treaty saw increasing the role of the national parliaments as a way of achieving this buy-in and inclusiveness. However, the Lisbon Treaty was drafted at a time before the economic and financial crisis which struck in 2008 and 2009. The result was a sudden and understandable preoccupation with financial and economic matters, which in turn left little room for considering the many other aspects of the EU. National parliaments were concerned first and foremost at stabilising national finances and in drawing up and implementing measures to deal with the ravages of the recession. There was little scope for national parliaments to spend time fulfilling the role envisaged for them under the Lisbon Treaty. Following the 2011 general election, it was decided that each European Oireachtas committee would undertake scrutiny of various European legislative measures and proposals in their subject area. With the limits and constraints on time, it's understandable that this was the course of action was taken, rather than creating a European Union committee to do all EU scrutiny. As a result, those of us in the Oireachtas European Affairs Committee have been able to examine the other issues, such as the role of the EU in various areas, the future direction of the Union, the different perspectives and views of other member states. As a committee, we've been able to hear from different organisations, academics, journalists, business leaders, policy makers, ambassadors, and a variety of issues concerning the Union. All of this has been very positive and has deepened our understanding of the Union and the issues facing it. In turn, we've been able to impart many of the views held by Irish people on the Union. However, given the amount of legislation that originates from Europe, the impact that it has on our own legislation, I wonder if we could do more in the Oireachtas to ensure that the Irish voice is heard from the outset at the very early stage of the decision-making process. I've said previously that I believe a reformed Seanad could lead to a much more enhanced level of engagement between the Oireachtas and the European Union. We elect senators for each of the various directorates in Europe: agriculture, competitiveness, foreign affairs, education and so forth. The senators would be able to devote more time and energy into scrutinising and shaping European proposals, an outcome that would benefit not just Irish citizens but all of the citizens of the European Union. I believe the opportunity is there for us to build on the engagement we have already had with the Union. At a time of uncertainty concerning the Union, the deepening financial union, the impending UK referendum, the question of Scottish independence, the instability towards the east of the continent, meaningful inclusion and engagement with citizens is crucial to the successful European Union, a union which has championed peace and cooperation amongst Europeans for longer than any other time throughout our history. Just on one area that I've covered previously, but in relation to energy and the single market for energy, I think this is something that needs to be tackled. Minister Ruffin was before the Jobs Committee and he was out at the Competitive Council meeting this week. There's huge threats to European businesses regarding the lack of competitiveness vis-à-vis the United States, which have much lower energy costs, and it's going to be a huge challenge for the future in terms of attracting and maintaining foreign investment in this country. And I think that the single market, there are huge opportunities if you look at the whole area of the wind debate and in ensuring that we have proper infrastructure across Europe and that we can tap into those markets and the interconnection between the Union. I think that's something that is a great challenge and something that needs to be watched and embraced. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Deputy.